Russ Mitchell. Good afternoon. You're in the game.
Kicking tires and lighting fires. First of all, you're pushing me around for Gene Stallings. I want to be on the record as saying I am perfectly fine always taking a back seat to Coach Stallings.
No. I'm not pushing you around, Russ.
By the way, it doesn't matter. I want to go on record as saying I am perfectly fine taking a back seat to Coach Stallings.
I text
Can
Russ.
Can I tell you one of my favorite Coach Stallings stories?
Sure.
He was out at the national champion. It was the BCS championship game, cheering for Tennessee to win the national championship game, pulling conference, baby, because that's what we do. We pull conference. Now, you can root against Tennessee in every SEC game, but the minute they step out of the conference, you got to pull conference.
Okay, and so Russ is trying to tell on me I text Russ, and I said, Russ, I'd love to be able to feature you early in the show because you always give us a lot of things to talk about. You're strong on opinions. You give us what we're looking for, and we don't really have a chance to react to what you say. And so I'm not
really a fence-sitting kind of guy.
No, you're not, which is great. It's perfect for talk radio. That's why you're invited back to multiple different radio shows across the country.
Life's too short to sit on a fence, man.
Yeah, and if you follow Russ Mitchell, you do it at your own risk, I must tell you.
Can we talk about how absolutely abysmal college football is this weekend?
Sure. Go for it. Let it rip.
I know we've been you and I we've been doing this for a long time, and we've been talking about, it seems with greater frequency now. We were just talking about this last week or the week before last. It's ridiculous. There's one game this weekend, man. One. Unless you care about Iowa, Michigan, and I'm sorry, or Washington, Stanford, the only game this weekend is Auburn versus Florida. It's October. And the only game in all of college football, we got one game. And it's because the presidents of the universities are too damn greedy. We've got 12 games a year. And instead of scheduling real games, they want the home games, and they schedule this crap. And it's going to keep happening till you stand up and say, knock this off, man. Knock this off. And don't listen to any coach. Listen, I respect Nick. I believe him. And, of all the coaches in the world, he's probably the coach that you can believe the most on this because Alabama wins so much. Nick wins so much. But, every other coach I don't believe because they're making $5 million a year and they want to get those 4 extra wins playing nobody. So they're perfectly fine with this. Don't believe any coach that tells you that, they're perfectly fine with the 4 extra wins so they can get to 9 or 10 wins and, look good.
But
you got to stand up and say, this is crud.
I agree.
Man, have you looked?
100%. I'm with you. I'll stand arm in arm with you right here. I agree with you. We got to have better college football. We do.
Missouri versus Troy. It's October. It's October.
Utah State, LSU.
LSU versus Utah State. Now, actually, Utah State's not bad, but, this game should be in September. You have a couple games like this in September. I actually am beginning to question LSU. I know they're really good. The offense is really good. I have real questions about their defense. But who have they played? They played one game. One game. It's going to be October. It's going to be November before ASU plays football.
All right. So, Russ, but here's the problem, okay? When you look at the standings right now in the SEC, we have got coaches right now. This record, we may set a record with 5 coaches in the league right now. And they're having to play these directional programs to survive. It's not about going to a bowl. It's about surviving. Where would these teams be if they didn't play the Sisters of the Poor?
Man, I got to tell you what. If you're a diehard Alabama fan, or if you're a diehard LSU fan, let's take Utah State. I mean, you'll watch this game. You'll watch the game, but only because you're a diehard fan. You know, nobody else is watching this game. Nobody. I know the coaches have to get wins. Actually, you know, they don't have to get wins. And as long as we're here, let's talk about something else. We got to start playing 9 games in the conference. It's just a joke, man. It's a joke that we are a joke. We're the best conference in college football, and we play 8 games like we're pansy chicken you-know-whats, and we can't saddle up and play 9. Like, we got conferences playing 10, and we play 8. Why? So we can make more money for the presidents. Like, we don't make enough money anyway. And all of us, if you're a fan, you got to sit around and deal with weekends like this. You know, saddle up, lace them up, and let's play 9 conference games.
But Russ, I've been down to Sandestin for the last few years. Nick doesn't get any help. He tries to push this agenda to get beyond 8 teams. He gets no help. He had Brett Bielema.
Of course he gets no help.
They don't want to do
nobody else wants to do it, man. No, I bet you even the president of Alabama is sitting around going, yeah, you know, it's one more road game a year. We play at home, you know, just looking at the budget. No, I'd rather have the paycheck. So what do you get? You get an extra Georgia Southern.
Yeah, right.
You get an extra Citadel. And then Nick's got to argue. Then you got to be Big Brother, and you got to track people on where they're sitting. I can't believe that, man. That is so un-Alabama. That is so the state of Alabama that you're tracking people. Come on, man.
Well, you don't like us to track people?
No.
Yeah, but we've got these.
No, I can't imagine. Listen, take your Alabama Crimson hat off for a second, man. You're tracking people.
So does
Facebook.
So does Facebook. So does Twitter, man. They know everywhere we go. I drive home. When I drive home, I mean, they give me predictions on where I should stop. We're getting tracked everywhere. You
can turn some of that stuff off, man. I don't expect the state of Alabama, any flagship, anything from the state of Alabama to be tracking my anything. Anyway, I don't want to get on that, but you know, this weekend, listen. If you've got to sit around talking about this weekend, maybe you might understand my frustration, man. You might understand my frustration if you got handed, and this was your job, man. Go on the air and talk about this weekend, and try to make it entertaining. You know, 4 hours a day.
Vanderbilt and Ole Miss, baby.
Well, at least it's a conference game, man. I actually can give you some stuff to watch in this.
Oh, Lord, why?
I can.
Okay.
Commodore, listen to me. Commodores, their skill guys are finally starting to produce. Vaughn hit the 130 mark rushing in the last 2 games. Dude, he ran for over 130 yards and 2 touchdowns against LSU.
Well, and Ole Miss should have found some confidence against Alabama. They put 476 up against our defense, 25 first downs, 31
Again,
points.
you know, late in the game when no one was really trying that hard. But, yeah, I mean, it was – I will say that anybody who shut that game off and came back to watch the second half or, you know, after seeing the final score was probably a little startled by that. Look, I thought Ole Miss came out very strong in the first quarter. I thought they played really well. They just ran into that buzzsaw that is, you know, the Alabama passing offense. Can't believe I even say that now. But, you know, the buzzsaw that is the Alabama passing offense, and you blink and your wide receiver has 3 touchdowns in a quarter or whatever it was. So, you know, I mean, very impressed with Alabama. I thought the offensive line played a little bit better in the game, so that's the one thing that I was watching for. You know, I'm not that worried about the second half because it's not easy to keep kids focused when you're basically up 50 to whatever and cruising.
All right, Russ, let's go to Gainesville. This
Finally.
is a game that really grabs our attention. I know it is from the local perspective, but 2 top 10 teams going toe-to-toe. It is the big CBS game of the week. Auburn traveling to Gainesville to take on those Gators. What do you think?
So I think this is going to be a lot like the A&M game, right? You're talking about 2 really good defenses. There's going to be, the Tigers are coming in with a lot of swagger, and they're improving every week. You know, that's what I like about this Auburn team. I said earlier this week that there's 5 teams that I would rank above Clemson. 5 teams that are playing better football right now than Clemson. And a lot of folks, Auburn wasn't one of them, and a lot of folks said, well, would you put Auburn there? And no, again, they started kind of slow. The offense in particular, a little hitchy. Of course, they had a freshman quarterback, but, you know, started a little slow. They're improving really well. When I think about this game, even in the swamp, right, Auburn's played 4 good to terrific teams that are all going to go bowling. Tulane is actually a good team this year. Tulane's got a lot. I forgive you if you don't know this, but Tulane's got a lot of upperclassmen. They're playing very well. They're playing good football. Tulane's going to go bowling. Florida struggled against Miami with a freshman quarterback playing in his first game with 3 freshman new offensive linemen, and survived Kentucky with a backup quarterback. So when you look at what these 2 teams have been able to put on the field, I've been far more impressed with Auburn, far more impressed with Auburn's run defense. They'll make Florida very one-dimensional in this game. And I like Auburn on the road.
Wow. Yeah, so does Vegas, too. I mean, they're the road favorite.
What's the spread right now? 4,
3.5, 4. Yeah, right there close.
You know, it's to me, you know, I'm watching a couple things in this game. The first thing I'm watching is that defensive line for Auburn. You know, can they dominate against a team like Florida, you know, whose offensive line has sputtered a bit? So can Auburn's defensive line continue to execute that efficiently? If you're an Alabama fan, that's the only thing you're watching in this game. Because you want to see how well that defensive line for Auburn does. I also want to see how well Nix does, right? 4th quarter against Oregon on the road in Dallas. 4th quarter on the road in College Station. How does he do on the road here in the swamp? A very tough place to play, very loud place to go into. If this kid has another really good 4th quarter on the road, I don't know, man. He might be freshman of the year.
Well, and if Auburn could go through this gauntlet of the schedule, I went on a radio show a couple of days ago, and I said this, and if Alabama fans find it, they'll never let me eat at the table again. I'll have to eat over the side. But if Auburn can run through this schedule, because they've got Florida this week, they got the bye week, They got at Arkansas, at LSU, Ole Miss at home, bye week again, Georgia, Sanford, Alabama. If they go to Atlanta, this guy should be the coach of the year.
Well, if they go to Atlanta, nobody's stopping them. If they can beat at Florida, at College Station, at LSU, at Georgia, and beat Alabama, that's at home, right? They get Alabama at home.
It is. Yeah, we have to go to Lee County. Yeah.
If they run that table, then how is he not? Oh my goodness! I mean, even if he loses to Alabama, he might be the coach of the year. But again, let's not put the cart in front of the horse. There's some really good teams there, starting this weekend with Florida.
Well, and
I think Florida's overrated in the top 10, but they're certainly a top 25.
Well, and ESPN does a algorithm that they plug in 1.7% that Auburn will win out. So they don't even believe it, that they'll get there. They have no confidence in Auburn, and why not? I mean, their schedule is one of the hardest in college football. Russ, when you look around this league, do you see that we're going to get 2 teams in this college football playoffs? I mean, can you see a lot of scenarios where we can get 2 teams in?
Yes. In fact, there's more scenarios to get right now, and it might have something to do with the fact that nobody's really played anybody. Right now, I see there's more scenarios to get 2 SEC teams than there's ever been. In October. The problem for Auburn, if you're an Auburn fan, I mean, really where the rubber is going to hit the road is LSU and Alabama are passing offenses, and not just passing offenses, but exceptionally adept at passing. So, I think the run play is less as material, and I think that's where Auburn really makes its hay right now is with that run. So, but it'll be exciting to watch. It'll certainly be a lot more exciting than this weekend.
All right, Russ, give me. I know it's October. It's October. We're doing this with our listeners today and people that call in. Give me the 4 teams, and I know we're October, but if you happen to hit all 4, we'll send you a Dreamland rib or something. I mean, it's part of the contest. Rib, Russ, what do you? What do you think? 4 teams in college football playoffs.
Well, you got to take Clemson because it's just like Florida State. Remember the year after Florida State beat Auburn, and then they played nobody. And you remember that Winston struggled throughout the year, and then they went out and played Oregon in the first round of the playoff out in L.A., and Oregon whooped them. So I think it's the same sort of situation with Clemson this year. They don't play anybody. There's nobody left. They've already played the two hardest teams on their schedule. So that's not good for Clemson, by the way. It's not good. So I think, so you got to take Clemson. They're the defending champions, and they're going to be undefeated. So that leaves 3 spots.
Okay.
Right? That leaves 3 spots for Oklahoma, Ohio State, LSU, Auburn, Alabama, and Georgia. The problem that the SEC has right now is that, the Big 10 and the Big 12 people talk about us being top heavy. I mean, they're really top heavy. I know Penn State's playing. Jim's got the team playing a little bit better up there, the Nittany Lions, but I don't think anybody's executing as efficiently right now as Ohio State. So I think Ohio State's fields, I think they come out of the Big 10, and folks are desperate to see a Big 10 team in the playoffs, so that'll get a lot of buzz. So I think Ohio State gets the second one, and then it comes down to whether or not Oklahoma loses. If Oklahoma loses, you get 2 SEC teams. If Oklahoma doesn't lose, you only get 1 SEC team. That, my friends, would be a crime.
All right, so give me the 3 predictions. Based on what we know, what do you think? I mean, you've got Clemson in there.
I don't think Oklahoma loses.
So you think Oklahoma's there?
Lose is Texas.
Okay.
So and by the way, Texas having played LSU, that'll help them out a lot. But I'm not going to, on only one game, I'm not going to flip the coin on a loss. So with no other games really to challenge them, I like Oklahoma, Ohio State, Clemson, and Alabama.
Roll, Tide, roll. Man, I mean, listen.
Look, you got to kill the king to be the king.
You're right.
And right now, Alabama is the king in the SEC. So I'm very impressed with what LSU is doing on offense. I'm really impressed with what Auburn's managed to do. And no one's improving week over week better than Auburn right now. But, beat Alabama, score a point, LSU, and then just score 1 point. And then let's talk.
Russ, you got my listeners all fired up, man. The calls are jammed up, and we appreciate you for being a part of the show, man. That's why I ask you to move, not because of Coach Stallings. I ask you to look at
I'll move for Coach anytime Coach needs it.
Have an awesome day. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday. Russ Mitchell, collegefootballnews.com. Thank you, Russ.